sound, new look here. Fearless Friday Underground coming at you I guess we're into week 4 now. The 0 weeks keeps throwing me off still. I'm going to call that week 1, but you know, we'll figure that out here. Jay Burr, Laney Beavers with you here as we always are. New coach this week, head coach Fountain Lake Cobras, J.D. Plumley, in here for us. Coach, you guys had a big week.
We did.
You've had a couple big weeks actually.
Well, yeah, we're excited. 3-0. It's always nice to go through non-conference undefeated and get some momentum heading into conference.
Yeah, we'll talk about these guys in a little bit because I think you had a nice little stat for us early on, but I'll save that for right now. We'll come back, we'll revisit you guys. Let's jump into the overall top 10 here in the state. Not a lot of changes there. You see North Little Rock still leading the way. Lane's getting all choked up about it. Fayetteville, Bryant, just kind of flip-flop spots. We'll talk about those two. They went head-to-head this past week. Conway and Northside round out your top 5. Greenwood, PA moving up a little bit. Springdale, Warren, and Cabot round out your top 10. A few teams getting some other votes as well. But there's your big dogs right here. Laney had to run off. So me and Coach are going to keep it floating here. Coach, what do you like about some of those teams right there?
You know, just North Little Rock, just unbelievable talent. They're so deep. Coach Mitchell and Coach Pizon and Coach Clint Reed, they do an unbelievable job there with those guys. And you know,
kind of amazing to me. Like even just a couple of years ago, they couldn't seem to figure it out. Yeah, but now they're just a machine. That's
right. Now everybody's chasing them. But you know, you can't say enough about Billy Dawson and the job he's doing in Fayetteville and being able to come down and beat Bryant at Bryant and a kind of a last 2 or 3 minute drive there. And then, you know, the rest of the top 10, I mean, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're just constantly always
solid
there. And it seems like that top 10 always just seems kind of, it may change a little bit like Fayetteville and Bryant switch spots, but the same top 10 are always seem to be there flipping spots.
They're usually hanging out there. And, you know, tell you what, let's just jump right into the 7A because it's very similar to what we're seeing there. You'll see it, North Little Rock, Fayetteville, Bryant. Who else do we have? Conway, and then Northside. And then you got a bunch of others receiving votes there. You see Cabot, Springdale, Bentonville, both of them, Southside, and Harbor. And let's kind of revisit North. Well, actually, let's go to the big game this past. You kind of touched on it. Fayetteville and Bryant. Yep. Well, the past 3 times these guys have gone at it, it has been a barn burner. It's come down to the wire, and you know, once again, comes down to the wire here. Another 1-point win for one of these teams in this matchup here. Fayetteville getting the upper hand this time around. A lot of offense. And I know you weren't able to take this game in, but to watch this, watch these two juggernauts kind of go at it again. I mean, kind of being a coach from the outside looking in. I mean, what do you think about these guys?
Well, you know, I was talking to Coach Dawson over the weekend, and they were ahead at halftime.
Yeah.
And then you come back and Bryant. You know, Buck James does an unbelievable job there, and I think they scored 28 unanswered.
Yeah, they rattled it off. I thought Fayetteville was going to run away with it for a minute.
And then, you know, Coach Dawson, his staff and his players are always so mentally tough and resilient, you know, and they didn't get down, and they were on the road, and they weathered through the storm.
Yeah.
And of course, Darius Bowers, his quarterback, is the real deal, and you know, he drove them down there, and I think they scored. I'm not sure, maybe 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, kind of take the lead back, and then you know, held Bryant out and preserved the 1-point victory. So just like you said, 2 juggernauts going at it, and it had to be fun to watch and be a part of, and you know, and if they played again this Friday night, it could be Bryant by 1.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what's fun, and that's what makes Friday night so special.
Absolutely. Key in this game, though, it's always going to be a 1-point victory, it seems. But another team, we talked about North Little Rock. You know, these guys just seem to have it rolling. You know, they forever seem to have a lot of talent, but they just, you never could see them put it all together. From a coaching standpoint, why is that sometimes when you just have a bevy of talent and just something always there? Is it a mental thing? Is it maybe just a team just has your number? What do we got here?
I think sometimes, and also I think sometimes it comes down to your senior leadership.
Sure, yeah.
You know, how much of those guys bought into what you're selling, what you're trying to get accomplished, and I think that's the difference right now in North Little Rock is Coach Mitchell has those seniors and those upperclassmen have bought in. So now those freshmen and sophomores, they don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
And so they're buying in, and all of a sudden you've got these years putting back to back to back of just dominant football, and man, you know, you look at them on film and they look good, they're athletic, they can run.
Yeah.
and they're disciplined. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what you see when you watch a Coach Mitchell football team is they're so disciplined. And you know, right now, North Little Rock's not going to beat themselves.
Yeah.
If you're going to beat North Little Rock, you're going to have to go in there and beat them. And so right now, I'm not sure anybody right now on their schedule can do that. So
Well, that's got to be a big key too, especially with a target on your back. Is you know, teams you're gonna get everybody's best shot. Basically, don't beat yourself.
that's right.
Laney's back. Hey man, what's going on here? You had a little spell there, but that's
Well,
all right.
so-
We weathered the storm.
I certainly did. got choked up over
yeah.
got
Over the
choked up
top
over
10. Boy, he
everything,
gets
yeah.
emotional out here.
I certainly do.
Talking a little North Little Rock here, what's your take on them early on here? I've played a lot of out-of-state teams, so
Right.
I know for myself, I'm not as familiar with some of them. I'm not 100% on what Whitehaven brings to the table. What have you impressed you so far?
I don't know I used to know the Memphis teams a lot better, but I really
Yeah.
don't. So I don't know how good a team Memphis Whitehaven was.
Yeah.
I know the North Little Rock team fired up going to their home stadium, come out with their new uniforms.
Yeah.
I knew they got them real fired up. It's a good crowd.
Yeah, the color rush looks sharp.
North Little Rock's very strong. That I know I'm assuming you talked to Bryant about Bryant and Fayetteville also.
Yeah, touched on them. What do you got?
I really like both those schools right there. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much difference in them whatsoever. I think it was a very good game. I know you and I, JD, talked a little bit off the air about the quarterback at Fayetteville, if he was hurt or not. And it doesn't sound like it. So if he's not, Fayetteville's going to be right back there. It's going to be one of these three right here. I know there's some other big games this week
Yeah.
that you'll talk about, but you got to like these big three: North Little Rock, Bryant, and Fayetteville.
Absolutely. I would probably say right now, that's probably your tier one. And then, you know, you kind of got your Conways, your Fort Smiths kind of right behind them.
I agree with you 100%. I think that top three, you can shuffle them any direction you want.
Yeah.
And there could be somebody else coming out of the 7A West. Don't see it right now, but
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% right there.
All right. We got a couple big games coming up this week. Throw them up there for me, guys. Because I'll be honest with you, I forget who we got. Okay, Fayetteville, Bentonville West. A chance for B West to sort of prove that they're back in this thing.
Yeah, they're not back in this thing. Fayetteville can name the score in this game.
Ooh, name the score even. And
This is a big game.
yeah,
right
there
here,
you go.
though. We'll find out how good Northside is. I don't think they're good enough. I think Bryant wins this one.
Coach, what do you think about those?
I think the top one, you know, I think I'd pick Fayetteville with this one. You know, Bentonville West took a hit when their quarterback got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, that hurts. But I like Fayetteville. And the second one there, I like Bryant. I think Bryant's defense is just, they're tough.
Yeah.
Man, they're just, you know, we
Yeah.
got to see them this summer, and they're big, tall, and can run, and just, I think their defense, I think they're too good.
Yeah, they're pretty beast mode right now. But I'll
Really
be
like
interested to
them.
see how Northside
It will be.
responds in this game.
This is Northside's first really big game
Yeah.
since they've kind of made a transition and they're trying to get up there. This is a huge game right here for Northside. I think Bryant's, like the defense, like JD talked about with their offense, if Ren Heffley's on with the running game that they have, they're very difficult to beat. And I just think Bryant's just got too much firepower.
All right, so there you have it here. All right, let's drop down here to the 6A here, fellas. Your top five looking like this. Greenwood kind of running away with things, but West Memphis, they're clocking some first place votes. Benton, huge game for them this past week. We'll talk about them in a second. Searcy and Pine Bluff are your top five. El Dorado, Lake Hamilton, Marion, Jonesboro, and Russellville also getting some love here in the poll here. So let's jump into this Benton game head first. Boy,
That's a
talk
great
about
game.
some party spoilers.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people
well-
maybe had Cabot circled to go ahead and get the 300 here.
I don't know about that. Benton's a very strong team. One thing, going into this game, everybody knew the Panthers were going to win. That's exactly what happened. But Benton, I bet their arms are tired after that.
Man, after 56,
That's
each
a
touch,
lot
woo,
a lot of points right there.
sure was.
Benton is a very good team. I think they would have lost to Bryan anyway if the game had been called short.
Sure.
But other than that, Benton's very strong. Malham, he's interesting. He's like he's a 6A school. He started out with Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
Goes down to El Dorado. Now he travels to Benton. And then they got a little.
Yeah, they were mowing through that,
They got a little
that 6A South.
Talking about Cabot real quick, they got a little Catholic this Friday night. Benton's very good though. I think Benton could beat West Memphis, so I think it's Benton. I really think it's Benton and Greenwood at the top right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think you can shuffle up some other ones. My alma mater, Lake Hampton's going to be there. They got a big game I know you're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yep.
But I think the 6A West is not a runaway for Greenwood. I think there's some other good schools, and this Benton team right here is going to be one of them right here. And they will play against Greenwood. They're in the same conference in that 6A West.
Oh, yeah. Coach, what do you think?
I piggyback on what Laney said. I agree. I think Benton, if they stay healthy, I think Zach Wallace is a really good running back. And I love what Coach Ray does offensively. They're always going to be able to score some points. And I think Coach Harris has done an unbelievable job with building the depth and his numbers and the strength that they have. So I agree. I think it is Greenwood and Benton in the 6A West. Like you said, and I think Lake Hampton's going to be sitting right there with a chance to maybe spoil that party in the West.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they evolve in this thing. Go ahead and throw up Greenwood, guys, since we're touching on them a little bit. Taking on Sand Springs. And I like to ask this question to most coaches. It's usually this time of year. But these out-of-state matchups, are they as big a deal as we make them, from a media standpoint, or for you coaches? I mean, is it a big deal for Arkansas teams, the knockoff teams outside Arkansas?
Well, I know you're talking about JD, but I'll jump in here real quick. Certainly it is. You want to beat the out-of-state schools. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't, and that's just because you hear about the Arkansas kids aren't rated as high because they play Arkansas competition. So when you beat, and I don't know how good Sand Springs, Oklahoma is, but certainly it helps you.
That's right. I totally agree. Anytime you can leave the state and go win, it just makes Arkansas high school football better look better.
Yeah.
And I think North Little Rock, the three they played.
Ooh, yeah.
They weren't cupcakes.
Not at all.
And so to be able to win some of those games the way they did, and for Greenwood to bounce back and win the way they did, obviously, there was, I think when Greenwood got beat, there was kind of a little bit of a shock
we were all kind of gasping,
and,
oh no, is this the year that falls off? But
no, it's
as we
not.
see.
If you go back and look at Greenwood, though, they've done something here that's real interesting. And you're talking about getting beat by Northside, which is nothing bad about it.
No.
But they moved their wide receiver. He's got all the
Yeah, you
speed,
mentioned that last week.
And he's the quarterback. If you're watching the highlights right there, you saw him reverse the field. And he's very quick. Now he can throw the football. So Greenwood is even more dangerous than before, but not that Connor Nolan couldn't run that as well, or Tyler Wilson years back. This kid can run. He's got his motor. He's very dangerous. Man, teams hate a dual threat quarterback.
Absolutely, and his name's Peyton Holt. He's
watch him right here. Now watch him. He'll reverse the field. This play right here. Watch this, and look at the speed when he gets outside.
Oh yeah.
He's just very fluid, and he has got another burner right there. And then the safety's finally going to be able to knock it. I think that was called out. I'm not sure if it was a touch. Yeah, because there's the next play right here.
Yeah,
but man, when you got that kind of speed and you got that trap play right up the middle, then you can pull it back in a play action pass. So
opens it up, man.
It's a very dangerous team right there, Greenwood.
He's a kid that he's got multiple baseball offers. He's their shortstop.
Yeah.
He's just an athletic kid, and I think that's what Rick Jones does, though.
Yeah,
he finds ways to win and score points and
he's
get athletes the ball. So.
One of the best coaches in the state. There's a lot of good coaches. I know JD's one too, but there's some great coaches. But Rick Jones, Kevin Kelly, you got to go right there. Mike Malham. I mean, and Brad Harris of Benton's just done a phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I hate to keep naming coaches, but Buck James, what he's done at Bryant is just unbelievable.
Absolutely, and also one of the best names out there in high school, Buck James. Yeah. All right, a couple of big games. Go ahead and throw them up there for us, guys. All right, Benton Russellville. Russellville getting some votes. See if they're for real.
That's a real good game right there for Coach Weaver and Todd Wood, defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'm real curious. I might have to give them a call and see what they think about this one. But I like Brad Harris, what he's got going at Benton right now. I'm going to go with Benton. I'll be at this game Friday night.
Yeah, we won't get you a prediction on there, but what do you like in that matchup? That one's always an interesting one.
It is, and they've gone back and forth a lot. There's been a lot of state championships between those two schools. I really like what Lake Hamilton's doing. They've done something. They've got a quarterback now, and we just talked about that about Greenwood. Lake Hamilton's got a sophomore quarterback right now that can throw the ball, makes them even more dangerous. And they got all kinds of speed in the backfield. I think it'll be a very good game, and I think the team in maroon's going to win that one. Didn't call him out or anything.
Man. Coach, anything that stand out to you in either one of those?
There, JD.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm obviously Russellville's a special place to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to pick my Cyclones on that top game. Nothing against Benton, but And then the bottom game, I'm gonna have to go with Lake Hamilton as well. Scott Reed is a guy that is a legend. You know, he's a phenomenal football coach, and I just think what Lake Hamilton's doing with the speed they have in the backfield now, the sophomore quarterback adding in a little bit of the deep threat.
Yeah.
And he's also, you know, he's a guy that can run the ball too.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
And so I think Lake Hamilton's is just with that speed in the backfield, they're tough to stop.
That one's in Lake Hamilton, right?
That's at Lake Hamilton.
All right.
Yep.
So I think I'll probably give the home team the nod there.
We're gonna have
I got Benton in the other one.
We'll try to get Jeff Weaver on here too later. In the
Yeah,
year.
we'll see if we can swing that one in here.
And Brad Harris too, two of my favorite coaches.
Absolutely. All right, those are the big dogs here. We got the 5A, we got the 4A coming up here in just a minute. Jay Bertolini Beavers, head coach, Fountain Lake, J.D. Plumlee. Stay with us.
For a limited time, Wendy's Double Stack is just $1. A quarter pound of Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef and melty cheese, all for just $1. You may never see a deal this good again. So get a double stack for $1 from Wendy's today.
Fearless Friday Underground Week 3. We're getting into the conference season now. This is when things are ramped up a little bit. I like this time of year. Things are starting to get taken a little more serious.
Here's another thing too. With the 0 week, we've had a lot of off weeks.
Yeah.
This will be the very first week where every school will play.
Yeah.
So
we finally all get back on the same schedule
All
here.
schools will play. The scoreboard will be bigger. So every school in the state's going to play this Friday night.
And I guess quickly too, I'll ask you about that too, Coach. What are your takes on 0 week?
I like it. You know, we didn't do it this week. We played 1, 2, 3, so we won't have a bye. But in the future, I like it. I want to play week 0.
Right.
I like the off week for a couple reasons. If you get some guys banged up, you get that extra time off, and then it also kind of allows you maybe to go see an opponent live. I know a lot of coaches took advantage of that too.
Yeah.
So, and I think you know, fall camp's so long now, you're ready to play.
Right. Yeah.
And,
exactly.
So I know we were ready to play. So hopefully in the future we can get it worked out where we can take advantage.
There you go. All right. Well, let's jump into the 5A here. We got a little bit of a change. We have 2 number 1s this week, Pulaski Academy and Little Rock Christian. You see the first place votes there. People confident in Little Rock Christian here. We also have Little Rock McClellan, Harrison still holding it down, and then Texarkana still getting those 2 votes, but they're at number 5. And then Watson Chapel, Nettleton, Morrilton, and Greenbrier are also getting some love in the poll here. So, you know, you got 2 number 1s. You're going to talk about them, so let's jump right into them. Little Rock Christian, they are firing on all cylinders. Defensively, they seemed to have tightened things up. I know they played Greenbrier this past week. Go ahead and throw that up for me, guys. Not quite the same caliber. Greenbrier is still a pretty solid team, but what do we think of Christian? Is this maybe the year that they can finally piece it all together?
They're going to have to find a way to beat Pulaski Academy first.
Well, yeah.
Talent-wise, I agree with you 100%. When you talk about talent-wise and everything else they got going, probably Little Rock Christian should be number 1. But they have to show that they can beat Pulaski Academy, which they haven't done in years. And that's the biggest obstacle. Besides, they still got to win all the games. But if it comes down to that,
all those things being equal,
right? All those things being equal, they got to figure out a way to beat Pulaski Academy. PA losing last week at Parkway down in Louisiana on a long bus ride. That's not going to be anything to be concerned about.
Sure.
PA's PA. They're going to bounce right back. Little Rock Christian, I believe these 2 teams played the last game of the season like they generally do, and I think so. And
we'll double check that, but
yeah, if you can go to Fearless Friday, you can check that. I know in years past they have, but of course,
no, it's actually not this week, but it's next week. So get ready.
The conference has changed.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you real quick, that Texarkana team, that Razorback team, I know they lost to Texas High previous week. They're going to be there. I've seen Texarkana. I've watched them so many years in the 6A. They're dropped down to 5A. They got a lot of speed. They got a good coach. they're going to be there at the end. Morrilton, unfortunately, with the injuries, I don't think they'll be there at the end. And I think it's really these two teams, PA, Little Rock Christian, and I think you got to throw in Texarkana.
Absolutely. And then, you know, talking about these two teams, I've not got to see Justice Hill play, but just listen to other coaches talk about how dynamic he is.
Oh, man.
And obviously with the pub he's getting. So, but I can't pick against Kevin Kelly and PA.
It's hard to do that yet. You want to at times, and every time you do, it always seems to kind of burn you. But it'll be real interesting. Not this coming week, but the next week. That one.
Not everybody wants to go against him.
I know, not everybody does. So.
Hey, two great coaches, two great programs right there. PA's got the ring, so they got the hardware. Until you show me you can beat.
Yeah, throw that PA game up there,
And
fellas.
until you show me you can beat, there's Kevin Kelly right there.
There he is. Speak of the devil.
Looks like he forgot his razor too. I have to talk to Kevin.
Yeah, we got to talk about that, man. Clean that up, Coach. But yeah, going out of state in Bossier City, I know they're usually a pretty solid power down there in Louisiana.
And don't forget, PA they had a national television high school game. I think it was last year or the year before, and just throttled Parkway. So, So Parkway had something. You know, they had a little something to come back on. And but that's a big way. That's a great win for Parkway. I think it's very good for Pulaski Academy once again to go play another. That's their third straight out-of-state team.
Yeah. And
they certainly didn't embarrass themselves, but unfortunately they came back with the L, and that's very rare. But hey, you can't blame them. PA's PA, and they're always going to be.
Now, yeah, and granted, they are younger than they have been in the past, and I know a lot of times you kind of have a little changing of the guard here. It takes a minute to figure out, but they haven't missed much of a beat. 22 is probably one of the lower outputs you'll see out of them on the season, and then stuff like that kind of uncharacteristic of them as well.
Well, they got that mystique that's going.
Yeah.
They're going to be up 14-0 before they ever kick off with many opponents, just because of the mistake. I mean, you come in there, you got 4 straight state championships. Teams are going to fear you. That's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. But PA's PA. They're very athletic. They're very good. They're very young. That's the biggest difference. They're very young, but they got a great defensive coordinator, Madison Taylor. They got Kevin Kelly. Anthony Lucas, wide receiver coach. I mean, they're going to be there at the end.
They always find a way.
You know, and the one thing too to look forward to is McClellan and Texarkana dropping down to the 5A South.
Ooh.
The seedings going in the state tournament are going you may see some of those key matchups earlier in the semis than you would in the finals or the quarters.
Yeah, because McClellan was in that same conference there, and now that they've shifted,
McClellan shifted out. They don't have to see PA.
Yeah.
And they played PA last 2 out of 3 years. The state championship played them well. So Coach Moody's done a very good job there at McClellan. So I think it's, you know, if you're asking me real quick, McClellan, PA, Texarkana, and Little Rock Christian. That's my top 4.
So kind of that top 4, well, with Harrison mixed in there. But we'll get a taste of what Harrison has to bring to the table as the year goes on here. A couple big games here in the 5A as well. Throw them up for me, guys. Hey, Little Rock Christian. Hey, they got Watson Chapel and then Harrison Morrilton.
I still wish Morrilton was full. I mean, Morrilton actually, guys, was right. They got a lot of first place votes. I mean, that is so unfortunate. And that, you know, you're talking about that 0 week. Actually, they lost their quarterback in a jamboree type scrimmage. First game, I like Little Rock Christian. Second game, I like Harrison because I just don't think Morrilton's got the firepower.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lanny. I think Christian will be, score too much. I don't know if Chapel can keep up.
Yeah.
It turns into
that'll be the key in that one. Can Watson Chapel score enough to just hang in there?
Don't think they can.
And then Harrison, I was there for a year, and they've got a stud at running back, the Husky brother. I was able to coach his older brother, Silas Husky, and so very good family, very good athlete. And then Coach Wells is doing an unbelievable job, and Coach Keelan, the defense coordinators, really got them playing.
All right. Yeah, it's good to see the Goblins rolling here. We talked about them a little bit towards the end of last year, carried it over, so we'll see what the Gobs are made of here.
Yep.
All right, let's get into 4A here. Not a whole lot of change. In fact, it's the exact same top 5. There you see Warren. They're at number 1, Robinson, Nashville, Rivercrest, and then Southside, Batesville. A couple of first place votes shifted around, but that's really about here. A lot of other teams getting a little bit of love here. Dardanelle, Arkadelphia, Bauxite, Pea Ridge, Gosnell, DeWitt, Fountain Lake. Hey, Coach, you're clocking a vote. And then Shiloh Christian there. All right, so man, boy, the top half of this this top 5 here. My goodness, here Warren. We've constantly talked about Warren, and they're in a little bit of a weaker conference when it comes to the 4A. But for these guys, boy, it just does not seem to matter. And I know we talk about that in some of the bigger classifications, where if the conference seems to be a little down, it tends to hurt the sort of the dominant team come playoff time. But Warren is Warren.
Warren's Warren. They're going to be there. They can't help. They can't help who's in their conference. It's not their fault or their problem that the other teams are not as good in their conference. You just can't hold that back. One thing you like about Coach Hembree is he plays upper class. I mean, he'll go get it. He'll play anybody, and that's what he does in the preseason. So they will get to go against bigger schools where they're outmanned, they don't have as many numbers, but he'll get them ready, and that's why they're always there. So, I mean, Warren's just phenomenal football team. The other thing that you like right there, Robinson. Man, that Robinson-Warren game was phenomenal, but it's going to be another good game. I really like the way Robinson's playing, Nashville's playing. Coach, I'm not going to just say this because you're standing right beside me, but Jay's been here. I've been telling about Fountain Lake.
He's been on it.
I've been telling about them for a while. They play 2 5A schools, and they just demolished both of them. I mean, I know they're weaker 5A. I mean, they're not playing well, these 2 5A, but you talk about playing upper classification. When you're a 4A school and you play 2 5A schools and you demolish them, that says a lot. So I really like what Fountain Lake's doing. They should, in my opinion, they're a top 5 team.
Yeah, guys, go ahead and throw up Robinson Camden there for me. Speaking of, 4A teams jumping up and demolishing. Yeah, I was out there at this one here.
You were there at this one.
Yeah, it was nice here right out the gate. In fact, Fairview takes back the opening kickoff, as you'll see here, and then that was kind of about it for them. I was thinking we were going to be in for a barn burner here, but not what's there. You see the final score, what it ended up being, 41-12. But just Robinson just manhandled.
That's one thing you can't do there. If you could play that, show that play again. They've got him tackled right there at the line of scrimmage, but they just don't hold on. He breaks through, and that's what Robinson will do to you. But when you got a good defensive line, I know there's a big 4A school that's going to play Robinson soon. It's got a good defensive line. You stop that, you beat Robinson.
Yep, and they're just and they're deep too. They've got a lot.
Yeah, they're a deep 4A school.
And and Coach Scull and his staff are doing an unbelievable job. Their defensive front, and you talk about, you look at their non-conference. I mean, week 0 go to Springdale, and then the second game they have Rogers come out. So they play 2 7A schools and a 5A, and gave Springdale all they wanted the first half.
Yeah,
and then they kind of pulled away, but so they're not scared of a challenge either. So kudos to what Coach Scull is doing over there with his program, and that's why they're sitting here at number 2.
Yeah, you got like both those schools right now, Robinson and Warren, and I think they're 2 of the best right now.
Absolutely. Now the bummer thing there for Robinson being at that game is 17. His name escapes me. I want to say it was Waits. Did go out with an injury. I think they said it was a knee, but I wasn't sure of the extent of that injury. So something to kind of watch out for. But like you said, Coach, I mean, they're deep, as you saw there. Had some other guys that were able to jump right in there and keep that offensive juggernaut going.
Hey, one more thing real quick about the 4A. Don't forget about over there in the Northeast, the Rivercrest.
Yes.
They're there.
It's a very good team.
Yep, athletic.
I mean, they're athletic.
They are.
Speed. Rivercrest is there. I'm kind of liking seeing Southside Batesville come.
Yeah, we're still talking about them. I dig it. We need to get out there one of these days.
That's good. There's a lot of good schools. Your school at Fountain Lake, I think there's going to be there.
A lot of 4A7s in this. In the voting here, Coach. I mean, I brag on them. We're big fans of the 4A7 here, unashamed fans. But when you look at these kinds of things, you just see why. I mean, there you got Robinson, Nashville, you guys, Arkadelphia, Bauxite getting back into things. Malvern has been. They're a little down right now, but when you've got over half the conference in these kinds of things, I mean, yeah, you guys are good, and it's a nasty conference.
Yeah, Arkadelphia, look at their non-conference schedule.
Oh, brutal.
And so, they went out and played. They had Benton.
They played Benton.
Yeah, Benton.
Win.
Had Sylvan Hills and win.
Sylvan Hills. So, and they're kind of banged up, but Arkadelphia. No one needs to panic down there being 0-3. They're okay.
We've said that before here.
Yep.
So that's Laney's motto here.
J.R. Elwood, he'll have them ready.
Yes, he does a great job.
It's a very good team. They're just phenomenal. I believe, I have to check this, I'm just going to go on a limb real quick. That 4A7, I think every school's won a state championship at one time or the other. There's a little trivia question for you.
Yeah,
we know
we might have
Fountain
to.
Lake has. Warren, obviously. Robinson, I take it back. I don't think Robinson has. But other than this could be the year.
It could be.
Otherwise, I think every school has won a state championship in the 4A7A West.
Bauxite's sitting there, you know, you look at their offensive line, they're big.
Oh, they're big dudes.
And then you've got Coach Cali coming over and one of the best offensive line coaches in the state. You
Yeah.
know, to take over those guys.
Ah,
So
not fair.
Coach Patton's got those guys playing at a high level. So, you know, this 4A7, you can call it the SEC West.
It is. Boy, it's loaded. And
it's loaded.
It's fun to be right there in the middle of it.
There's not a lot of freebies in that conference, that's for sure here. And speaking of the 4A7, got a couple of big-time matchups with that one. Throw it up for me, fellas. Woo! We'll talk about them here in just a second. Who's that other game here? Arkadelphia and Nashville. Man, these are
I think Arkadelphia is going to bounce back.
Ooh, you think against Nashville?
Really
Nashville's got it rolling, though.
I know they got it rolling, but I know.
And I believe it's in Nashville, so.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is a big win for Arkadelphia. I mean, they're 0-3, which means everybody's 0-0 in the conference play.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, just ask Coach Bo Hembry, and he'll show you all his championship rings.
That's right.
That's it.
I think Arkadelphia will bounce back. They played some powerhouse teams. They cut the turnovers. They had a lot of turnovers against Benton that hurt them.
Yeah.
So I like this Arkadelphia game.
Okay.
I think the Badgers are going to get the Scrappers in this one.
I would kind of lean Scrappers, namely with it being at home, and then I like the way that they've played. Now, granted, it's a little hard to judge Arkadelphia because, like you said, they've really jumped up in the terms of the competition.
They played Sylvan Hills well. We had Coach Withrow. We talked about that. And I know what they did with Benton. The turnovers just killed them, but they still scored a lot of points. But they just had way too many turnovers. You cut that out, you got a shot. But of course, you know, some teams lose a lot because they have a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
So they just got the turnover bug, and it happens. So let me put it this way. Arkadelphia cuts their turnovers out, they're right there in the ballgame.
All right, we'll get some hot takes here. We'll leave the picks aside here, but we'll get some good analysis here. Coach, without giving away too much of the playbook here, what do you see in Robinson? What do you have to really prep for with them?
I think just their defensive front is remarkable.
They're pretty beast mode.
They are, and then their team speed.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed with Tackett, their quarterback. You know, he's a 4.0. I think he has a 32 on his ACT. You know, he's a field general for him. You know, and
he was a bit of a calming presence when things weren't really going their way there for a hot minute. It looked like he settled them down.
He's a good kid too off the field. You know, and so he's a guy that can really handle and manage the game for them. And, you know, defensively, when you look at their defensive front, they've got Zach Williams, high commit. They've got the Warford kid at the other defensive end position, which is Army commit, I believe. And then you've got the two defensive tackles that weigh over 300 pounds. And
so pick your poison there.
That's right, and they do a good job. They're very well coached. And, you know, then it goes all the way down to now you've got to worry about Coach Escola's boy with kickoffs. You know, you were there and you saw.
Yeah, they got two onsides there, and they've mastered the bounce.
Yeah, and you watch him kick, and I told my guys yesterday you could put hula hoops out there and he's going to land them inside of the hula hoop.
Yeah.
You know, 8 out of 10 times, and so, and Robinson, if you're going to beat them, you've got to beat them in all 3 phases.
It's gonna be a heck of a dogfight for you there, Coach. So, but it's gonna be a fun one to watch.
That will be a fun
sure.
one. That will be a fun one. I'll definitely be watching that score.
All right, so there you go.
Robinson.
All right, those are our middle guys here. We got the 3A, we got the 2A, we got some big games coming up in that 2A. I'm excited for that one. We call it a tease around here, so you got to stick around for that one here. Fearless Friday Underground, Jay Berlanti Beavers, head coach Fountain Lake, JD Plumlee. Stay with us.
For a limited time, Wendy's Double Stack is just $1. A quarter pound of Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef and melty cheese, all for just $1. You may never see a deal this good again. So get a double stack for $1 from Wendy's today.
Friday Underground back and better than ever here. Week 3, we're getting set for conference play. Let's just jump right into this 3A because I'm liking what we got here. We got Boonville holding down the top spot. They are kind of the consensus number one to a certain degree. I know Clinton's getting some first place votes there, but the point margin's pretty wide there. Prescott also getting some first place votes. Mayflower and McGee, despite being 1 and 2, but don't let that fool you here. We're getting into the real season now. And then a lot of teams getting some votes here. Smackover, Charleston, Rison, Melbourne still hanging tough. Atkins, Osceola, Newport, and the Beavers down there at Glen Rose also getting some love here. All right, guys, speaking of Glen Rose, I would have them a little higher personally, but that's just me as part of this poll here. But what do we think of this 4A here? And you guys can throw up Glen Rose for me there. What do we think of the Beavs and then just this 4A overall? Because, man, it's hard for me to sort of really put a whole bunch of teams there at the top. I mean, obviously Boonville, but Clinton's real good. Prescott's always in the mix. Mayflower's got it going again. Smackover's got some eligibility issues that they're going to have to work through, but Charleston's always in. Rising. I mean, man, this thing is loaded.
It's got some good name schools
Yeah.
there. Keener at Glen Rose, just a phenomenal coach. And they've got it going. A lot of great teams here. I know we have a lot of fun with the top 10 and everything,
Yeah.
but this is where it really counts right now. You're playing the conference season. We'll have to see how these are huge games for every school tonight because it's opening conference season. You want to be at the top. You also want to win with at least 13 points for a tiebreaker down the road.
Yeah.
So this is what it's all about. The top 10's fine. We have a great time with it.
Sure do.
But I imagine, and Coach Plumlee can correct me if I'm wrong, but they really don't look at this as much as they're going to look at those conference races starting right now.
That's it. You don't want to pour too much in a non-conference because there's which coach is holding somebody out for maybe he tweaked an ankle or something, and so you're holding him out and getting him ready for conference. So like Laney said, I mean, this week you're going to see everybody's A game, if you will. And you don't ever want to go into a game and try not to win it, but there may be, like you said, you may be holding somebody out or trying to get somebody healthy or work on something, and so this is when it gets fun.
Absolutely. I like this time of year, especially when we get into this. And then sort of those last couple of weeks, I really enjoy when, there's some shuffling going on. And, especially down there in the 4A7, for example, we talked about them at large. But the only, 5 of you guys get in? Is it 5 teams?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think somebody who's decent gets left out, it seems like every year down there. So it's going to be fun to watch some of that. But who else do we really like here? We didn't get out to a lot of 3As this past week. But
like Boonville, Clinton, like them and Prescott, I mean, they're just going to be there. There's no doubt about it. Mayflower, they're always there at the end. Charleston's a team you never count out. Charleston, I'll tell you right now, you never count Charleston.
Yeah, we were talking about them pregame here.
We talked about that a little bit too about their game last week. And Newport had a real good season last year too. So
yeah, Newport dropped down too. So that's again, I always like to see how some of these new teams adjust, whether they go up or down.
Well, Boonville's bounced back and forth recently.
Yeah.
Also. But this should be the Bearcats year. If you're looking at this, should be the Bearcats year in 3A.
Oh.
Clinton's going to be right there too.
Yeah.
But, the Bearcats feel like this is their time, and we'll see. But this is going to be a lot of good football, and once again, conference race is starting this week, and this is where it all starts.
That's right.
Sure does here. Not a whole lot of big-time matchups in this one, so we'll just drop on down into the 2A where we've got some doozies coming up for you, but we'll get to that in a second. Mount Ida, they're number 1. Foreman right there with them. Hazen, Mineral Springs, and Junction City. You're rounding out your top 5 here. Lots of other teams getting some votes. Hampton, Conway Christian, Bigelow, Earl. I know you're a big fan of Earl, Laney. England, Desark, Fordyce, McCrory, Hector, and how about Poen?
Yeah.
Poe it up.
Well, they hadn't had football
Man.
too long.
Poen in the
I
mix.
think they're the Braves. I think that's right. I can't remember. Indian. Is it the Indians or the Braves? Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Road Tribe.
But Poen going up there. This is the last ride for Mount Ida. They're going to probably play a lot of 8-man football in the near future. They just don't have the numbers, unfortunately. Junction City's a very young team. They're bouncing back and forth. Don't think it's their year. Mineral Springs is really playing well. Hazen too.
Hazen.
And just a lot. Conway Christian's going to come. Conway Christian's got a lot of talent down there.
Absolutely.
So the 2A is wide open right now.
Yeah, let's talk some Gators here. Throw me some Foreman up there. They took on, I believe it was Horatio this past week. And, this was a team that, I don't want to say late last year, but they really kind of got the ball rolling, or at least we started noticing that the ball was rolling for them. I think it was about mid-season last year, give or take, something like
Well,
that.
that's when conference season started, and they got it going then.
Yeah, and it was kind of a three-headed monster in that conference there. I forget what their numbers are because I'm not good with the numbering and everything. Let's see, what are they? They're 2A. They're 2A7. So if you got a 7 in your conference, chances are it's going to be tough, the way it seems here. But Gators were rolling, man. I mean,
It's good
where
football.
would you put this? I would probably put like your top 5 there, and that's kind of maybe your tier 1.
Well,
I mean, granted, I don't know much about Hampton this year. I know Conway Christian is
I think Conway,
one of those spread teams in the 2A, which is wild to me.
I think Conway Christian will be in the top 5. I really like them. I'm not sure about Junction City yet. I know they got the name brand, but
Yeah.
they're not the same Junction City they've been before. They've also dropped 3A. This is their first year back in 2A.
Yeah.
After they were number 1 in 3A all season long.
Yeah, they were rolling through
And
it.
then they dropped to 2A. They lost some numbers. But this is not the same Junction City, so I'm not sure if they're going to stay there at the end. Conway Christian is going to be there at the end. McCroy, Earl, man, you know, always got to count them in. Mount Ida, though, is the top dog. It's going to be Mount Ida, I feel, is the top dog of the 2A.
All right, well, there you have it here. Coach, any hot takes there on 2A? I know it's hard to keep up with those guys just because of the nature of 2A.
Well, just, you know, like Lane said, I think Coach White, you know, his system.
Yeah.
It's hard nose as those kids play. And, you know, but you look at Conway Christian, like you said earlier, the spread attack,
Yeah.
you know, is.
And that's
is,
wild at 2A to be able to actually execute that just because of, you know, sheer numbers. And if you got a guy who can't throw, what do you do?
Well, you
but
know-
they
you know
always
what?
seem to have a guy that can throw.
If you want to see a spread attack with a person that can't throw, look at Arkansas on the weekends. That's all you got to do.
This guy.
You know, and then, you know, you touched on,
Savage.
you know, Poen. Coach Barrett's doing a great job there.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 weeks they've had 55 at halftime, and then this past week they had 60 on the board by halftime. So they're scoring a bunch of points.
Putting them up.
And I believe this week they play Conway Christian, if I'm not mistaken.
That might be one of our bigger games here. We'll touch on that in just a second here. But I also do want to get your take on, because I know 8-man football is starting to kind of become a thing. Good thing? What's your take on 8-man?
I think it is a good thing. I think that AAA is trying to allow every school to participate in football at some capacity. And so I like that answer versus just canceling football at that
Right.
school totally. You know?
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'll be interested too. And I know Laney's alluded to it the past couple of weeks, you know, especially with Mount Ida. You just nature of the beast here in some of these 2As, whether it be just a bad cycle of you get a lot of girls. I mean, hey, they can play football too, but or you know, there's a lot of just other issues in those 2A
Well,
schools.
the thing that's sad about the 2A the most, and you've seen it happen every year, is the school, they just don't have the numbers.
Yeah, they'll start okay.
They might start with 16 players, a couple of them get hurt, transfers, quit. Well, you know, if you only got 12 players, 13 players, you're not going to make it through the system that way. I mean, and that's the sad thing about it, and that's why I think 8-man football is very good for the smaller schools.
Yeah.
You hate to see a team not finish the season.
Yeah, and that's always the worst. That's the one that breaks my heart the most here.
Right.
All right, like we said, a couple of big games coming up here in the 2A. Throw them up for me. We've got Mount Ida and Mineral Springs, Conway Christian,
Yeah.
and Poen.
I think Conway Christian wins this one fairly easy, and I think Mount Ida's going to knock off Mineral Springs.
I'm gonna go with Mount Ida, but I'm gonna take the boys from Poland.
All right, I like it. I'd probably lean Mount Ida as well, and then hey, let's go for the upset here a little bit. I like Poen, so don't let me down out there, Poen. Poe it on. That's what we need to do here.
Pull it on.
Poe it on. That's right. Hashtag that. I think that's it here for week 3 here. Remember, get your cell phones out. We need scores. So you can do that by downloading the Fearless Friday app. We've got that in the Apple Store, also in the Android Google Play, or whatever device you got. Make sure you get with us. It's just the same as the desktop. I've been sitting here looking at it the whole time here. So if you've got the app, you've got the desktop version, fearlessfriday.com. Get on over there. You've got the message boards. You can talk all the smack you want. You can, talk about how awful that the Razorbacks are playing right now. Maybe leave that out. But you can definitely talk about how wrong Laney is, because we know that's usually a thing. So you've got that going for you as well. So download that, get on there. let it be known. Also, Fox 16 on Friday nights, 9:30, kind of as things are happening, and then we've got the full statewide 10:30 show. All right, I think we'll put a bow on now. And Coach, it was a pleasure to have you here. I hope you come back.
Thank you. I appreciate everything y'all do for Arkansas high school football. It is it's really neat to have an organization like this in Fearless Friday, and I know I've told Laney appreciate it, but thank you for everything you pour into what we do. So we appreciate everything that it just gives us publicity, and it's neat for the kids to get exposure. So
absolutely.
Thank y'all for doing that.
So there you go. The coaches love us. You should love us too.
That's right.
That's right. So for Coach J.D. Plumlee out there, Fountain Lake, good luck this week, Coach. We know you got your hands full. That's for sure with Robinson. For Laney Beavers, I'm Jay Berg. Get out this week. Watch somebody. There's good games all over the place, even though they're not maybe the big games of the week. But get out, watch a high school football game. It's going to be warm, so hydrate up. That'll do it for week 3 here. We'll see you guys next week.